Hey everyone, Riot actually just dropped the B patch today, actually before I've posted up this video. So this patch will have been up for probably about 12 hours by the time you've seen this video, 12 plus hours. But still wanted to cover it, make sure everyone knew the B patch had dropped and there were some changes made. So three changes. Aatrox's mana cost, total mana cost has gone up. The initial cast is the same, but the total mana cost has increased, and the spell healing at 3 star has been decreased. So the thing that's kind of happened with Aatrox, with very specific sets of items, Aatrox kind of had become unkillable. Part of it was because the mana total was way too low, and the other part of it was that this healing number was way too high. So they toned it down a bit. This had kind of become a relatively popular reroll comp. I'm a little surprised to see it hit. I assume that it was kind of crushing the mid game, but I didn't see this as a build that was straight up winning lobbies. But it definitely was overperforming at the mid game and was probably a little too easy to do. Um, Nocturne getting a 5 AD nerf. I think a lot of the changes that went on in the last patch brought Nocturne up just a tad bit too much. So this tad bit AD drop kind of makes sense to me. Um, the only thing with Nocturne is if you don't 3-star him, he's kind of trash. Like you could get top 2 or maybe really top 2 is even pretty tough. Top 4 pretty easily with a 2-star, but without 3-star you struggle. It is a struggle to win lobbies with this comp without 3-star. But the 3-star variant is kind of crushing. So seeing this 5 AD nerf isn't overly surprising to me. As for Vayne, so Vayne true damage is getting nerfed at 2-star and 3-star. Pretty big nerf to 3-star actually. So here's the thing that's kind of been going on with Vayne. Vayne has gotten little tiny itty bitty buffs for the past 2 months now. Basically before the last AD buff she got, she was playable. I don't think she was great, but she was playable. And that AD buff kind of tilted her maybe a bit too far to being really good. The main thing with Vayne is, especially if you get a Radiant Hurricane. Radiant Hurricane is wild on Vayne. It will blow up everything in sight. It's actually insane how powerful a Radiant Hurricane on Vayne is. So the reality is that means that the true damage is what's doing all of the damage, makes sense for Vayne. It's not really AD; it's this true damage that's all the damage is from. So it's not shocking to see a pretty good size hit to this 3-star version. Um, yeah, this comp was beating out comps it probably shouldn't beat out because this comp should kind of fall off a cliff, but it didn't. Um, so seeing it get nerfed is not really surprising, but also seeing them hit the true damage rather than the AD buff they just gave Vayne makes a lot of sense to me. I'm actually perfectly fine with this. The biggest issue with hitting that AD buff they just gave her is that she then becomes kind of trashy in the early game as just a 1-star, 2-star carry to get you to the mid game and then just transition the items to something else. So I much rather see this true damage nerf than see an AD nerf reverted. Anyway, that's it for this patch. I think it's a good patch. Best, to quote Austin Chan, best devs in NA. Yeah. Um, that's it. I'll see you all around. Peace.